how exciting was it, and how tough is it to lose that one?
It was a really fun game. You know, we both teams competed really hard. You know, I thought both teams was really tired. You know, guys were beat out there, and you know, we both teams pushed through. You know, they took advantage of our slip ups. You know, and our pick and roll coverages. You know, we didn't make some shots. We had some turnovers, and you know, we didn't execute well enough or defend well enough down the stretch to win the game.
Dame, how do you feel you performed in this game, coming off your performance, and your thoughts on Steph Curry's game and his return and that back and forth?
I mean, I thought I played well. I didn't have my greatest shooting night. You know, but at this point in the season, you know, I've been telling myself and my teammates have been telling me to go out there and just be in attack mode and be aggressive the whole time. And we'll live with the results. So, you know, that's kind of been my mindset in this series. But, you know, as far as Steph, he had a great performance. You know, he's been great all season. He's the MVP again for a reason. And, you know, he's been out for 2 weeks. You know, and the kind of player he is, I'm sure he hasn't been sitting around. You know, so he was a little bit rusty in the first half. But like I said, the second half we had some blown coverages, miscommunications, and you know, we allowed him to come off and get wide open shots, and then he got going. And with a player like him, they see a couple go in, he's gonna start bouncing around and feeling himself. And that's just what happened. You know, it got to the point where because we had blown coverages, you know, he got in a groove to where he started making contested shots too. So, you know, he had a hell of a game.
Any other questions?
Dame, Mike Richmond, the Oregonian. Can you just describe sort of the feeling in the locker room after a loss like this? What were guys like?
I mean, it was kind of draining. You know, we played really well. Game 3 got the win. Game 2 we played really well, and we let that one slip away. And then tonight we played well again. You know, and like I've been saying, they're a championship team, and you know, I thought we competed with them. We were right there. You know, we were 1 or 2 stops away from winning the game. You know, but we right there. It wasn't we're not out here getting blown out. We're not out here getting bullied. You know, we competing. You know, every game we're competing for a win, and they know that. So, you know, we let another one get away, but you know, next game we got to go out there and try to get one on their court.
Dame in the back, Sky Muller, KVAL TV. Given that Steph did get in a groove there towards the end of the fourth, did you have a sense going into OT that it could be trouble out there?
I mean, their team as a whole, they're trouble. You know, they play so well off of each other. They screen well. They pass the ball well. You know, they understand just how to run offense well. And when Steph starts making shots and Klay starts making shots, that's when you have an issue. So going into overtime, we felt like, you know, we can get it going too. You know, so it was the same kind of game that it was going into overtime. You know, we knew it was going to be back and forth, and the team that got the most stops and executed the best was going to win the game. And they did that a little bit better than us.
Dame, was there any regret, I guess, on your guys' part not building a bigger lead in that first quarter going into the second and facing your first elimination game of the playoffs? How do you guys take on that challenge?
I mean, we jumped out. We had a great start to the game. I thought we controlled the game for the most part. But against a team like them, they're going to make runs. You know, they're going to make shots. You know, they stick to their principles defensively. They're going to disrupt some things. But I thought, you know, even with the things that they did on offense when they made runs, we always answered. You know, when they had good defensive possessions, we kept coming. And like I said, 3-point lead, we get a stop. You know, towards the end of the game, we get a stop. It's our ball. Now we're looking at making it a 2-possession game instead of giving up a 3. So, you know, I was proud of what we did.
Dame, I know you've been in a few series, but the intensity tonight was really ratcheted up. I mean, can you speak to the intensity between you guys and the Warriors out there in this series?
I mean, it's been crazy, just because we realize the opportunity that we have playing against the best team in the league, and not much being expected of us. You know, we want to go out there and make a statement. And we want to go out there and make sure they respect us, and make sure that they understand it's not going to be what everybody think it's going to be. It's not going to be no rolling over. It's not going to be no out here being scared. It's not going to be any of that. And I think our team has done that. You know, every game we've gone out there and fought, and we've believed that we can get it done. And I think it's shown. You know, we could have won the last 3 games. You know, we were in position to win the last 3 games, and you know we had slippage, and a championship team is going to take advantage of that, and you know that's what they did.